Hello and welcome to SaltWire Today for Wednesday, March 29th. I'm Scott Squires, in for Kate Walker. A 52-year-old Williamswood woman has been sentenced to 2.5 years in prison for embezzling more than $600,000 from the Bedford Church where she was the administrative assistant. Tracy Kim Hardman pleaded guilty to fraud over $5,000 and was sentenced this week in Halifax Provincial Court. Judge Christine Driscoll said Hardman took advantage of her position to commit the fraud over a lengthy period, and her moral culpability was high. Reverend Randy Townsend, pastor of St. John's Anglican Church in Bedford, said the fraud has left members of the parish feeling disheartened and betrayed. Hardman was hired by the parish in 2000 and was responsible for selling cemetery plots and managing openings and closings for funerals or cremations. She redirected the church's mail to her home and received checks from donors and payments for cemetery plots, which she deposited into her personal bank account after forging signatures. In addition to the 30-month prison sentence, Hardman must pay more than $602,000 in restitution to CIBC. Also, she must provide a DNA sample for a national data bank and forfeit the ride-on mower that was purchased with church funds. Beer drinkers across the country are feeling the effects of an increase in the federal excise tax, with some craft brewers hoping their customers will stick with them despite the price hikes. Although the government has reduced the increase from 6.3% to 2% for 1 year only, brewers and consumers alike are feeling the effects. Prices are expected to increase beginning this weekend, and brewers are hoping to make up the difference through direct sales from the source. As craft beer drinkers adjust to the change, brewers are looking to the future with the possibility of new packaging and products to come. For more on this, you can check out Bill Spur's article at saltwire.com. Swings in energy prices continue on world markets and in our region. Dan McTagg is here with some thoughts on what Nova Scotians can expect in the weeks and months to come.
We are going to continue to see an improving market, with oil likely moving as WTI from 67 last week, 74 this week, possibly to 78, 79 next week. And more importantly, with the spot price for gasoline moving. Right now, of course, if I'm looking at the markets, they're up about 2 or 3 cents a gallon. But right now, the spot market for what we have today, as an example, I'm looking at 247.71 a gallon, which was yesterday. That works out to about 89.2 cents a liter. I would expect that that's going to increase about 10 cents a liter, especially on April 15th, when we do make that shift from winter to summer gasoline, because those numbers are about 30 cents higher on the spot market. So that's right across the U.S. So they do have an impact on us. If the regulated authorities in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia have already jumped the gun, then of course it means that the increase will be lessened. But right across Canada, we're looking at a 10-cent net increase. And of course, this Saturday for New Brunswick, Ontario, and most of the Western provinces, including British Columbia, we're looking at a net increase of about 4 cents a liter, with the carbon tax being increased on April Fool's Day. So no matter how you slice it, things are going to get a lot more expensive. I think Nova Scotia goes a little later in the year, probably May to July. But one way or another, we're going to be getting back to prices that are in the 170, 180 range in Nova Scotia, and very similar to that price in New Brunswick, PEI, and of course, a little higher in Newfoundland.
Keeping skills sharp is an important part of military life. Recently, 6 different Canadian Forces Reserve groups got emergency medical training from the 33rd Field Ambulance Unit out of Halifax. SaltWire's Logan McLean has more on the spring training mission.
Shots rang out and smoke filled the air as calls for the medic repeated over and over. Help came soon, bringing the casualty behind cover before starting medical treatment. If that wasn't enough, the next stop was emergency resuscitation. This was the scene at the Queen Charlotte Armory on March 25th in Charlottetown. Dozens of Canadian Forces Reserve members joined strength to get emergency medical training from the 33rd Field Ambulance of Halifax. After starting 9 years ago, the annual spring training session has gained popularity with reserve groups across the country, said Captain Rebecca Doiron of the 33rd Field Ambulance. Last weekend's training saw reserves from PEI, Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Ontario, and Quebec. The Saturday sessions started at Holland College for paramedic training before beginning live fire drills at Queen Charlotte. Outside the armory, reserves practiced emergency resuscitation with interactive mannequins. While the weekend can be stressful for trainees, Doran said everyone there is a soldier first. They all do practice scenarios throughout the year, and the March training session is about bringing together all of those skills. For SaltWire Network in Charlottetown, I'm Logan McLean.
Time now for today's Thinking Out Loud with Sheldon McLeod. Today, Sheldon speaks with Sue Bookchin from Be the Peace Institute on the Second Story Women's Center in Lunenburg.
You said when it reopens, why are you confident that this can be resolved?
I feel like I have to be. There's a lot of doubt. I mean, if the old board doesn't resign, the center trying to open under that leadership, none of us would support that. If the board does resign and call a general meeting, then we feel like we can rebuild. We have to rebuild.
To watch Sheldon's full interview, click on the opinion section at saltwire.com, and while you're there, click the podcast link for Sheldon's podcasts. On today's Atlantic Sports Wire, Ultimate Frisbee player Grant McDonald dropped the disc to answer a few quick questions. All right, you ready for some rapid fire?
Yeah, let's do it.
I always like to know what athletes eat on game day. What's your game day meal?
For me, it's got to be spaghetti, like a few hours before, whatever sauce you want on it, and then about 2 hours before I do peanut butter jelly sandwich, so that's my go-to.
So pasta, do you have any proteins in the pasta? Chicken, beef, anything like that?
I'll do chicken. If I can do like a chicken pasta with some like still tomato sauce, I like it like that, and then Parmesan on top, that's my go-to.
And then the PB&J later on?
Yeah, for sure. Gotta have that. That's my favorite little pregame snack, so.
You're coming to the game, you're warming up. What do you like to listen to kind of get you pumped up? What kind of music?
Our team loves, it's called Big Booty Mix. You can look them up. It's just a long 1 hour mix by some DJs, and it's really good. I love the quick transitions, and it gets me going, so I love that.
Other than Ultimate Frisbee, what would be a sport that you love to play or watch?
I love hockey. Grew up playing a lot of hockey, so I always watch that. And, you know, I love the March Madness that's on right now, too, so I'm always tuning in for those games.
How about all the upsets in March Madness?
Oh, it ruined my bracket. My bracket's toast, but I still got Gonzaga going, so go Zags.
Anything that you're binge watching right now, either series, shows, movies?
Right now I got Defending Jacob. It's on Apple TV. It's really good, like, crime story. Only 8 episodes, so if you're someone to crush them all in a day, you can go watch that.
All right, last one in the rapid fire. You're not worrying about a game. You're not worrying about, working out and being healthy and fit. You're on the couch watching whatever. What junk food are you eating?
They're called Nerd Gummy Clusters. I'll destroy those, the whole bag, probably gone in 5 minutes. And I'll sometimes eat them on the sideline too, so those are my favorite candy.
And sorry about Gonzaga, Grant. It's weather time, so let's check in with SaltWire weather specialist Alistair Alders. Alistair?
Hey there, Scott. Well, we had a nice mix of sun and cloud here today in HRM. Now, we did have to watch out for a few flurries and showers, but they were quite isolated. And by this time tomorrow, we'll be watching out for a bit of snow. This evening, we will have partly cloudy skies and that diminishing chance of showers or drizzle very early. The temperature this evening will fall to the freezing mark. We could fall a few degrees below freezing, but then rise tomorrow morning, starting the day near +1, and it will be mainly cloudy in the morning. Now, as we go through the afternoon, cloudy and that cold front will approach, so we will see showers changing over to some wet snow or flurries. We will see the temperature in the afternoon near 5 degrees, but we will fall back to near and below freezing behind that cold front. So in terms of snowfall amounts, it's really not a significant system for us in Halifax. Trace to maybe 3 centimeters of snow. It's going to be a very wet snow. We will see southerly winds gusting 40 to 60 kilometers per hour ahead of the front, and then from the northwest, 20 to 40 behind the front. Overall, not a big deal for us in HRM, but certainly maybe something to watch, especially as we go through later Thursday for maybe a few icy spots on the roadways. We will likely have maybe a lingering chance of flurries on Friday, but overall clearing out, and then our next system arrives on Saturday. That will be mainly a rain and wind event. Scott.
Thanks, Alistair. That's all for now. For more extended video and full online articles, stay tuned to saltwire.com, and you can find us on social media. I'm Scott Squires. Thank you for spending some time with us at SaltWire today. We'll see you back here tomorrow.